I'm going to mix and match products to create both of these postage Christmas cards. Hey crafters, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. Let's go over some of the products here. I have waffle flowers, postage collage die, and stencil. Then I'm going to be using the nested stitched stamps from scrapbook.com. I have the stitched candy canes, the nested fancy fir trees. Both of these are new. We have snowflakes and the cozy foliage. So I'm going to start with using my grip mate because it's going to hold my stencil down. And then I have a piece of craft cardstock from Gina K. I used Waffle Flowers postage collage die to die cut that out, and now I'm using the coordinating stencil, sorry guys, and that is the collage postage or collage blocks stencils, excuse me. I'm going to be using lumberjack plaid for this first one, and I'm going to just do some ink blending. This is going to leave an edge around our little postage collage die, so the outside edge will still be that beautiful craft cardstock. You don't have to ink blend, you can leave it, but I'm loving the red on this. And then I'm going to do that for a second one using, oh, what green did I use? Rustic Wilderness. Look at how cute that is. So I'm just going to clean off my stencil really quick with some water, and then I'm going to bring in my second piece of craft cardstock from Gina K, and I'm going to do that same exact thing but with green. Now both of these cards obviously are postage related, but one of them I'm going to do the layout a little bit different, so that way you can kind of see two different ways to kind of do this same card. And I'm mixing and matching products. I'm also going to bring in a couple other products, some other stamp sets to create this whole look. And I have to tell you, I love these cards so much. You know, you have an idea in your head. I had a half of an idea in my head with these cards. I did not have a full idea. I just knew I wanted to use these products together, and then it came out way better than I thought it was going to come out. Okay, so here I need to, before I remove my stencil, I need to stamp some postage images. So I have two kinds. I have one from scrapbook.com. This is the Holly Express stamp. And then I'm going to be using Tim Holtz Holiday Postmarks from Stampers Anonymous. So I'm just taking images from both. Oh, first, this is the Yuletide stamp from scrapbook.com. It just has the scripty writing, and I'm just going to put that in a couple areas. I am using tone on tone as far as that goes. So I used Rustic Wilderness against the Rustic Wilderness inked background. Now I'm going to use a black ink for my postage images, and because I haven't used this stamp set before, I'm just stamping it first off on a scratch piece of paper, re-inking it again just to make sure that I'm getting a good solid image. So this says Christmas Express, which is really cute. There's tons of darling images between these two stamp sets, and I liked images in both, so I couldn't just choose one. So of course I had to use both of them. And I'm just going to fill in our little postage squares and rectangles, and I'm doing it with the stencil on because I don't want any ink or any stamped images on the little frame that is left after you remove the stencil. So where we can see the craft cardstock, I don't want anything on that. So I want to contain all of those images within that stenciled area. So I will also go back to the red one and do that. Here is that holiday postmarks from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. I'm going to bring in some of those images. There's just darling images in all of them, and I love it. And I did find it easier to use my acrylic block because this feels a little distressed to me, a little old-fashioned, a little vintage, just a little bit. And so if I did not get a perfect image, that's kind of what I was hoping for. And then the other thing is I am not using an archival ink to stamp on my Distress Oxide inks. That's on purpose. Because when you stamp on Distress Oxide inks, oh, look how cute that is, with just a regular black ink, it's going to be not as bright of a black image which is what I was going for. I did not want a stark black image. I wanted it to feel a little dulled down. So that's what you're going to get. If you want a crisp black image, use an archival, like archival jet black ink from Ranger that is meant to be stamped on top of Distress Oxide inks. There's something about that chalky texture that just kind of dulls down any other black ink, like regular, black ink. But again, that's what I was going for. Okay, I'm going to grab that Yuletide, that stamp from the Yuletide stamp set again, that little scripty stamp, and just using the lumberjack plaid again because I wanted it tone on tone. I'm just going to stamp it that way. I really wanted it in the background and not to blend in with my black ink. So let's go back to the Tim Holtz holiday postmark and the Holly Express stamp from scrapbook.com. Again, I'm going to use both of those images. Super, super cute. I had so much fun making these cards, especially once it was done, because I was like, this really turned out cute. I'm super happy with what happened because, again, I only had a partial idea in my head and I couldn't even tell you now what that was, but it turned out way better. So let's get these finished stamping. I'm just stamping some images fully into the opening and some partial. I just like that look. Cute. This says, Happy Holidays. We have Nice List approved. We have, I can't see because some of it's hidden. I think that top one says Santa Claus's. Oh no, Santa Claus Post Office. That's really cute. We have cancellation marks and just all kinds of fun things. And I'm definitely going to do some more postage things because I love how these card designs, I know I keep saying it, how they turned out. I kind of want to translate them maybe into a tag or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's something I got to think about because I love them so much. I don't want these to be the only ones. We have Santa's cute little face over here. Just darling. Here's our smaller cancellation mark because there's a bigger one on that Tim Holtz one. Let me just get that last little guy. I think that might be it. Nope, one more. There's that Nice List approved from the Holly Express stamp from scrapbook.com. Lots of cute ones in there too. Okay, so now I can remove, oh no, first I'm going to splatter. And then I have to go back to the green and splatter. So I'm using scrapbook.com's white Lustre marker, and I'm going to get a nice good splatter on this. I love the white. And I'm just putting it, I'm concentrating in some areas where it's a little bit heavier. I wanted some bigger dots, some smaller dots. So that's how I did that. I'm going to peel that off my grip mate, and I'm going to put that aside. How cute is that? So these backgrounds that I'm creating are backgrounds. And I'm going to combine that with the nested stitched stamps from scrapbook.com. Of course, we're going to bring in some foliage. We have the new stitched candy canes and nested fancy fir trees from scrapbook.com. I think they were released a week or so ago. Super cute. And so yeah, I just kind of want to combine all of these images. I'm going to throw in a few snowflakes. We're going to throw in a little pop of white against all of this, which I really love. And it turned out so cute. Okay, so these to me look like holly leaves, if I'm correct, from the Cozy Foliage from scrapbook.com. I'm using Rustic Wilderness, but I die cut those from Fresh Asparagus cardstock from Gina K. And then here is our nested fancy fir tree. So you have all different kinds of sizes. I think this is the second smallest tree. So I'm going to add some of that ink blending towards the top to give that shadow area. So when we put it together, you have a lighter and a darker area. Then we have our candy canes. The top part is die cut from Red Velvet cardstock from Gina K. And I found an ink that is a little bit darker than this red cardstock, and I'm using Pink Fresh Studios, Pink Fresh's, Mulberry Blush. And that gives it a nice little shadow on that top part of that candy cane. So I'm going to ink blend that, and there's a cute little bow. Okay, so for the green one, I'm going to cut right down the center of our postage collage die here, and we're going to get separate little postage dies. Now let's glue our candy canes together. I kind of have my layout here. I die cut my 3 snowflakes from the Snowflakes die from scrapbook.com. I die cut the back part of our snowflake from mixed media white cardstock, the same thing with those snowflakes. I'm going to put my fir tree together. Again, this is from the Nested Fancy Fir Trees from scrapbook.com, and it has a little stump that I die cut. I can't remember what color brown cardstock I used on that. Sorry, guys. I think it may have been Acorn from Spellbinders or Truffle, one of the two. I'm going to add 2mm foam adhesive behind that, and the same for the candy canes and my green leaves. And I just have a general idea of how I want to lay things out. Then the nested stitched stamps, I used the largest one, and I die cut that from Craft Cardstock from Gina K. So that's this piece right here. And then that green piece is the asparagus cardstock. And I'm going to lay that on there, and it's A2 sized. And then I'm going to use 1mm foam adhesive to pop up our little postage collage here. Just a little bit of dimension because the other pieces also have dimension. So you can choose to leave this step out or just do 1mm here and 1mm behind your other little images. But I wanted them to have a good amount of dimension, so that's why I used 2mm. I'm going to center that. Look at how perfectly that fits. I love it. Then let's get some of these images laid out. I do end up scooching this over just a little bit. We're going to have that cute little red bow there. And I love that we're just using that stamped collage in the background. You still can see all these fun images, but it just gives you this really awesome background. And then we have our leaves here, which we're going to add some berries to that here in just a little bit. I need to scoot that whole top leaf over. Let me just do that really quick. Gently pulling up that foam adhesive. I did not want it to tear my background. So sometimes I don't always push down everything until I know for sure I'm going to get it in the right spot. Now I'm so sorry I forgot to record my sentiments. I did white heat embossing. I did it on the asparagus green. I used the sentiments, oh my gosh, now I can't remember. I think it's from the it's from the Wonder and Delight stamp set, and there is coordinating dies for that. That is from scrapbook.com. So that one says Happy Holidays, and there's some big sentiments on that stamp set, which are really amazing, but this did not call for that. Okay, so this one, I am using the red velvet cardstock. I have that same craft nested stitched stamp frame, and you can use the insert piece. I did not need it for this. And remember, we cut these apart, and I'm just going to kind of collage these together. And then we're going to add our fir tree to that. So I want to be able to see that red cardstock in the background because everything is kind of green here. So I like that contrast. This one's going to be popped up with 1mm foam adhesive. I actually do end up moving that over, and the same with this little one at the top. And then the sentiment that I used for this one says Merry and Bright. I white heat embossed that on that red velvet cardstock. So place my tree there. I am going to scooch over this guy, and I'm going to let it overlap the frame just a little bit. And I love that. And you can see a little bit of red next to it. And I'm going to move this guy up too. And then because I had the pop of white with the candy canes on the other one, I thought, especially this one with the tree and the snowflakes, I just thought that would be really darling. So I want to just overlap some of these bigger snowflakes. And I think it turned out so pretty. And these will be adhered to a white A2 size card base when we're done. This one just feels very like, I don't know, Christmas cabin-y to me, and I love it. The other one feels more traditional Christmas. This one feels just a little like you'd be at a lake house at Christmas with that pretty tree, or just, you know, a pretty Christmas cabin. There's something about this one. I mean, I love the other one because it's just so traditional, but this one I loved way more than I thought I was going to. And I love the shape of those fir trees. Again, that's the nested fancy fir trees, and you can get, there's a bunch of sizes in it. If you look back at the beginning of the video, you would see that when I show the product. So super cute. Let's use some white pops of color to give some berries over here. I wanted to bring more of that white down here, and I love it. Okay, let's take a look at this up close. Look at that fun postage themed card, the background, the dies, and then you have the greenery and the candy canes. This one, we cut up that background collage for the stamps and kind of clustered those together, and we have that gorgeous tree and then the fun pop of white with the snowflakes. Okay guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed these 2 projects. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.